Hello, in this video we are going to build a simple landing page using the Astra theme and the Spectra page builder. We are going to build this page, nothing complicated here, and in the process we are going to get to know the Astra settings and the Spectra page builder. I think it's best to learn by building something real. Before we start, I want to install the Spectra Pro plugin. If you don't have the Pro plugin, don't worry, you should be able to follow along the tutorial with the free version of Spectra. In one of the previous videos we already installed this, but if you don't have this plugin, just go to Plugins, Add New, and just search for Spectra, and from here you can install it. I will click here to upload the plugin. Let's activate it, and we need to add the license key. And now the plugin is activated. For this tutorial, you won't really need to use the Spectra Pro features. Just for a second, let's just check out those. If you go to pricing, here we can see the differences between the free and pro version. As you can see, even in the free version there are a lot of modules, but in this tutorial we are not going to use the pro features, which are these, but in the upcoming videos we are going to use a few blocks and features from the pro version. Another thing, I wanted to do it quickly before we start. Let's go to Astra, Customize, go to Global, Typography, and for the body font we have the Leto font family, which is okay, but let's just add a few more font weight we can choose from. Let's add a lighter one. Okay, let's do the same for the headings. For headings we use the pop-ins. Let's add the light 300, regular 400, semi-bold 600, and extra bold 8. Okay, and let's change the paragraph margin bottom to the smallest, otherwise we will have too much space between paragraphs. Okay, click publish, and we are done here. Let's go back to the admin, let's go to pages, and let's create a new page. Okay, let's call this landing, and we can start building the page. If we click this eye icon, we can hide the title from the front end, it won't be displayed. And now we can start creating the landing page. Okay, so first we have this yellow section with one image. So we need to add a section. If we click this plus icon here, we have a bunch of blocks we can choose from. These are categorized. You can see that Spectra brings a lot of blocks here. And then we have the Spectra Pro section, text section. These are coming from the core WordPress. We also have media blocks, design blocks, but mostly we are going to use the Spectra blocks. Okay, first let's add a container. We need to put everything inside sections or containers. Let's click here, and here we can choose from different layouts. So for our first section, we need a one column layout. Let's check this and select it. Okay, once we select an element, in this case, this container, on the right side, you can see all the settings and design options that related to this particular element. Okay, so here I am going to use the boxed version of this container. Let's go to Style. Let's change the background to the yellow color, and we need to add some spacing. I will add 50 top padding and 50 pixel bottom padding. And we need to add the image. We need to click this plus icon to add a block. Let's search for image, and I will choose this one because this blue one comes from Spectra and it has more options than the default WordPress image block. So I'm going to choose this one, and we need to upload the image. Okay, the image is uploaded. If you want, you can customize it. We can align it to left, center, or right. We can change the size. We can add an alt text. And we have a lot of other options. But right now, the default options are okay. Let's click Publish. Okay, and let's view this page. We are quite far from this. First, we need to get rid of the header because I don't want to display the header for this landing page. Let's go back and click the Astra settings, and here at the Disable Elements option, we just need to disable the header. Click Save. And if we refresh, we don't have the header anymore. Okay, so this is the footer. We will get rid of the footer later. We still have some extra space here. Actually, if we want to get rid of this, we need to go to Customize again. And let's go to Global, Container, Design. And let's change this to 0. And the outside to 0 as well. Click Publish. Okay, so now we have this first section at the top of the page. Okay, next we have this blue section. Let's go back to the editor. We need to add a new section. Let's click the plus button. And again, we will use a one-column section. Okay, so right now we are at the Astra settings. We need to click this icon to access the settings of the block editor. Again, we need to check the boxed option on the container width. We need to go to Style. Let's change the background color to this blue color. Let's go to Spacing, and let's add some padding. That's a little bit too much. And also add a -10 margin top, so we don't have any space between the two sections. Okay, so here we need to add some text. Actually, we are going to use the Spectra's heading block. Let's change this text. We need to align it to the center, and we need to enable subheading so we can add some additional text underneath the heading. Okay, so this is going to be a landing page for a fictitious pay-per-click advertisement course. Let's change the style for this heading. We need to change the color to white. Let's change the font settings. Let's use a little bit smaller font size. We can change the weight to maybe 600. Okay. Let's change the style for the subheading. So basically each element has a setting group, setting options. Okay, so here we can set a little bit bigger font size, but let's change the font weight to a lighter one. Okay, and we also had an icon here, so we can click this button here. Let's search for icon. Let's click here. We can change the icon here. I want to add this chevron down icon. If you want, you can add a link to this icon. You can enter a URL here, but I'm not going to do that. But I want to change the color to white. Okay, and since this is a kind of an arrow icon, I think we could lose the bottom 50 pixel padding on this container. So I will just click here so we can access the options of the container, and we can change the bottom padding to 0. Maybe a little bit more, maybe 10 pixel is okay. Let's click save and let's refresh the page. And now we have the second section as well. Okay, let's move on to this next one. This is going to be a little bit more interesting. Let's go back to the editor. And here we need to add a new section. Let's click the container, and this time we need a 2-column section. First, let's edit the container, the main container. Let's set the width to boxed. Click style. Let's set the background to white. And let's add spacing. And let's add some negative margin to the top. Okay, so here we have another heading and some text. Here we can use the heading block again. Let's change this text. Under the General tab, enable subheading. Let's add the text here. Let's go to style. Let's change the heading color. And let's change the font settings for a smaller one, and also change the font settings for the description. Let's change the font weight to a lighter one. Okay, maybe 18 is better. And maybe add a little bit more line height. Okay, let's just save it. And next, we need to add these 2 blocks here. These are info boxes. Let's click this plus button, and this is the info box block. And let's just grab it and let's bring it here. And now we can check this. So first we need to change the icon. We need that money icon here. Let's change the position of the icon. It's on the left of the text and title. Okay, we just need to click here and replace the text. Let's go to the style options and let's change the color of the icon. Okay, this is much better. It aligns with the text more smoothly. And let's change the color of the heading or title. We can change the bottom. Okay, it doesn't do anything. Okay, we can add some negative margin for the description, so it's closer to the title. Okay, and we can change the typography a little bit. I'm okay with the font size, but I want to change the line height. Maybe 1.7. Yeah, it's much better. And we are done with this info box. Now all we need to do is just to clone this one, because we need 2 of these. So let's select the element and click the options icon and just click duplicate. And that's it. We just need to replace the content and we don't have to worry about the style. Okay, and we need to change the icon. And we need this globe icon here. And we are ready with this part. Okay, now we need to add this subscription form. Obviously, this is not working, but the idea here is that the visitor just enters the name and email address and clicks the download button. We store the details somewhere and then maybe redirect the user to another page where he can download the ebook or whatever. If you want to know how to do that, just leave a comment and I will create a separate video. Right now we are just focusing on the design. Okay, let's go back to the editor. Okay, let's change the background color for the entire container. And let's add a 10 pixel border radius. And let's change the padding. Okay, let's add a heading. Let's enable the subheading again. Let's add the text here too. Let's go to style and let's change the color to white. Also for the subheading. Let's go back to heading and let's change the font size because it's too big. Okay, and maybe 600 will be enough. Okay, let's go to subheading, typography. Let's change the weight to 300 and let's change the line height to 1.6. Okay, now we need to add a form. Let's click here and let's search for form. Here we have the Spectra form. Let's add it. And here we can choose from 3 different types of forms. A simple contact form, newsletter, and a suggestion form. For now, I'm going to choose the newsletter form. Okay, so it added a default form. Let's go to the styling, the options, and let's change this. I don't want to show the labels, so I will just hide them. Here, the submit button, I want to make this full width. If you want to make the button full width, you need to change the alignment. And here we have some other options, but right now we are not going to worry about these. Let's change the placeholders here. Just click inside the field and here you can change the placeholder. Okay, this is a required field. Let's click here, make this one required as well, and change the placeholder. If you want to change the text on the button, you need to click on the text. And let's go to style. Here we can change the style of the input fields, but I am okay with these. I want to change the background color of the button. Here we can change the size of the button. We can make this larger. And if you want to change the background color, you need to select color for the background type and just change the color to whatever you want. And let's add a different hover color. Again, select the color as the background type. And for the background color, we just add the same red and just select a little bit darker shade. Okay, for the border, let's select none. We don't need to add any border. And basically we are done with this section as well. Okay, so we have our subscription form. Okay, next we need to create this section. This basically is made up of two containers, one column container and another 3-column container. Let's go back to the editor. Actually, let's just refresh the page and see what we have here. And here we need to add a new container, a 1-column container. Let's add the usual settings. Let's make this boxed. Here under the style tab, let's add a white background and let's add some spacing. And let's add some negative margin here. Okay, so here we need to add a heading. Let's add the text here. Let's align it to the center and let's enable a subheading. Okay, let's go to style. Let's change the heading color. Let's edit the typography. We can make this a little bit smaller and maybe lighter. Okay, let's go to subheading, typography. Let's make this 300 and let's add a little bit bigger font size. Okay, so I'm happy with this, but later on we will need a similar title. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this entire section, actually, this entire container, and I will create a pattern. Let's name this pattern section title. I don't want to sync this because I'm going to need to change the content, the text of the heading. So you need to make sure to deactivate this option. Just click add. The pattern has been created, and later on I'm going to show you how to use this. Let's click save, and if we refresh the page, now we have our section here. Let's go back, and we need to add a new container, and this time we are going to use a 3-column container. Okay, let's give it the usual settings. So I'm going to select the boxed option here. Let's go to style. Let's add a white background. And let's go to spacing. And this time I'm not going to add a top padding because we already have a 50 pixel bottom padding here. And that would be just too much. So I'm going to add 25 to the right, 50 to the bottom, and 25 to the left. So here I'm going to use info boxes again, but this time we are not going to use icon, we are going to use image instead. So let's click here, and we already have the info box here. Let's select it. Okay, this time let's select image and let's upload the image. Let's change the content. Okay, let's go to style. Let's add a few pixel bottom padding for the image, because the title is too close to the image. Let's a few more. Yeah, that's okay. Let's change the title, typography. Let's make this a little smaller, and the weight, let's set it to 600. That's okay. And for the description, let's change the, well, actually maybe we only need to change the line height. Maybe 1.7 is okay. Let's see if we need to change the font size. 14, 15, 16 is the default. Maybe 17 pixel is better. Okay, so we are ready with the first one. And now we just need to clone this 2 more times. Okay, so we need to select the element. Here we know that the info box is selected, and click duplicate. And we just need to drag it and drop it here. We need to duplicate it again. And we just need to drag it over here. And all we need to do is just change the icon and the text. Okay, so let's click here, General tab, change the icon, upload the new file. We can do the same with the third one. And all we need to do is change the titles and the descriptions. Okay, click Save. Let's refresh the page. And now we are done with this section as well. Actually, we have a little bit of problem here. If you see, we have a little bit of space between these 2 sections. It's because for the second section, I forgot to add the negative margin to the top. Click Save. And now we should be okay. And yes, it's better now. So we are making really good progress here. And the next section is going to be this timeline. Okay, so let's go back to the editor. And let's add a new section, new container. This time a toucan section. Let's do the usual settings. Let's select boxed. For the background color, we are going to use this light blue color, and let's add some spacing. And let's not forget the negative margin. Okay, so here we need to add a heading. So here we need to add a heading. Let's enable a subheading. Let's align it to the center. Let's go to Style, change the color to white. Let's change the font size. Let's change the color for the subheading as well. Okay, and we only need an image here. Let's upload the image. Okay, and we are done with the left column. Let's add the timeline to the right column. Let's click the add block and let's search for timeline. Okay, we need the content timeline. Let's change the orientation to left. Let's change the arrow alignment to top. We don't need to display the date. And let's change this icon to a check mark. Okay, let's go to style. Let's go to timeline item. Let's change the background. We could change the background color to this color or just make this fully transparent. And let's change these color to the yellow. We need to change it here as well. Okay, let's go to timeline item. Let's change the heading color to white. We can change the typography, make this a little bit smaller. Let's change the description color to white as well. Let's change the typography. Let's make this 300. Let's go to spacing and let's change the timeline item gap. So this is the space between the individual items. And we just need to change the content here. Let's change the title for the first one. And for the description as well. Okay, I'm just going to stop the video and I will change the rest of them. Okay, so I've changed the rest of the timeline items. We have one more that we will not need. So I'm just going to select this item and I will just delete it. I forgot to change this icon color to white as well. And let's save this. And let's refresh the page. And now we have this timeline section as well. Let's see what's next. So we have this instructor section. This is similar to these features. So let's do this. Okay, so if you remember, we had a similar heading and we created a pattern out of this. So let's see how we can use that. So let's go back to the editor and here we will need to insert that pattern. Let's click this plus button, select patterns, and under my patterns we have it here. So let's just click here. Let's close this and it's inserted here. If you click the heading block, here we need to go to general and subheading and just enable the subheading. For some reason Astra or Spectra disables it when we save this as a pattern. Okay, so what we need to do is just we need to replace this text. So this is a really cool feature. It saves a lot of time. And we are done with the first part. Let's just refresh the page. So next we need to add a 3-column layout. Okay, let's change this to boxed, the usual settings. Let's change the background color to white and we need to add some spacing. Again, I'm not going to add a top padding because we already have a bottom padding on this section. So I'll just leave this on 0. I will add 25 here, 50 to the bottom and 25 to the left. And let's not forget the negative margin. Okay, So here we need to use a theme block. So let's click here and let's search for theme. Let's add it here. And first add an image. Okay, let's make this image a circle. If you want, you can change the size and the width of the image, but I'm okay with this one. Let's change the name. Let's change the designation. Okay, so now all we need to do is do some styling on the text. If you are wondering, I generated the text and the images using ChatGPT. I'm not going to change the social links, but if you want to change them, you can select different icons. Here you can add a link to the social page. You can add up to 4 items here, or you can just disable them if you don't want to show these links. Let's go to styles. The color is okay. Let's change the font weight to 600, or maybe a little bit smaller font size, maybe 25 pixel. Okay, I'm happy with the designation styling. Let's see the description. I think here we could add some line height here. And if you want to change the size and color of the social icons, you can do that here. And let's add some margin bottom for the image, so it has a little bit of more space. Okay, I am happy with this. So again, all we need to do is just clone or duplicate the item and just drag it over here, duplicate it again, and just drag it over here. And here we need to change the image. Let's save the page and let's refresh, and we are done with this section as well. Okay, the next one is going to be this counter section. Okay, let's go back to the editor, and we will need to add a 3-column container. Let's add the usual initial settings. Let's make this boxed. For the background color, we will need this yellow color. Let's go to spacing. Okay, so here we need to add a counter. Okay, so we don't need the icon. We also won't need the number suffix. Here we can set the starting and ending number. We can also set the duration, so how long it takes to count to the end. And here we can add some text. Let's go to styles. Let's change the color of the number. It should be white. Let's make this bolder. Let's change the color for the headline. And also let's make this a little bit bigger and bolder. Okay, let's clone this element. Let's just change this to courses and let's make it 50. Okay, let's save this and let's refresh. And now we have a nice counter. If you want, you can add some additional text below the counters. Basically, it's very easy. You just need to drag a paragraph. For example, just add a paragraph here. And then you can just add whatever text you want, and then you can design it. Okay, I am not going to add it right now. And the next and last section we need to add is this simple call to action. So let's do this. This is very easy. We'll just need a heading and a button. Let's go back. Let's add a new section. This is going to be a 1-column section. Quickly, let's do the initial settings. Let's make this white background, spacing. Let's add 50, 25, 50, and 25. And a negative 10 pixel margin. Let's click here and add a heading. Okay, let's enable subheading. Let's align it to the center. Let's go to styles. Let's change the heading color to blue. Let's change this to 600, and let's change the subheading to 300, and let's change this to 20 maybe, and maybe add a little bit of line height. Lastly, we need to add a button. Let's click here. Let's search for a button. Let's select this one. Let's change the text on the button. Let's change the background color to red. Let's remove the border. Let's add a different hover color. So let's go back to border and let's change the radius to, I don't know, 6 pixels. If you want, you can add an anchor link. Let's call this download. And if we go back to our subscription form and just select the container and we go to advanced, and here at the HTML anchor field we add download. Let's click save. Let's refresh the page. Okay, so we have the counter and the CTA section, and if we click this button we go back to the subscription form. Okay, let's do something with this footer. Let's go back to the page and let's go to Astra settings, disable elements, and let's disable the footer as well. Let's click save. Okay, and it's gone now. We can add a footer here if you want. We can do it here, just add a new section. That's basically the easier solution. Let's just add a container and let's make this 1 column. Okay, let's make this boxed. Let's go to style. Let's change the background to this dark blue. For now, let's not add any padding. Let's just add a negative 10 pixel margin here. And here, let's just add a paragraph. Let's align it to the center. Let's make the text white, and let's click here. If you want to edit the padding and margin options for a paragraph, you need to go to this dimensions section. Actually, maybe we could just select this small size. Okay, so let's go to the dimensions sections and let's check the margin. And for the top and bottom, let's set this to 0. Okay, so obviously this is not very nice. So let's go back to the container settings and let's add some top padding, maybe 12 pixel for the bottom as well. Let's click save. And if we refresh, now we have a footer as well. Okay, so basically we are done with our landing page, but we also have to make sure that it looks nice on mobile devices as well. So if we go back to the editor, and here we need to switch to the mobile view. Okay, the first section looks fine. The second section, in the second section, the title isn't really nice, so we need to decrease the font size. So let's let's select the element, the block, and let's go to heading, and let's select typography. And here we can see next to the font size, we have a small mobile icon. This means that we are changing the values for the mobile version. So let's change the font size to 27 maybe. Okay, so this size will only be applied on mobile view, so it won't affect your desktop view. Okay, let's go to subheading, and well, maybe we don't need to change this. This is okay. This looks okay. Here we can change this title maybe. Okay, so I accidentally changed the font size for the description, but it's okay. Let's set this to 20 pixel. And let's go to heading, typography, and let's change this to maybe 26. Okay, these look okay for me. Okay, the subscription form obviously is ugly. So first let's select the container for this column. So not the entire row. And let's go to style and spacing, and let's add 0. Okay, so 20 pixel for the top, bottom is okay. 20 pixel for the bottom. Let's select this heading and let's go to spacing. And let's set padding for the right side and the left side. Okay, so we can change the padding for the button as well. Let's set this to 15 and 15 to the bottom, so we can have the button text in one line. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we can change the size of this title. Okay, the rest is fine. I think this section again is okay. The timeline section is fine as well. Let's change this. The theme section is okay, and the counters are okay, and again, and the rest looks also fine. Let's click save, and that's it. Obviously, if you are doing this for your live website, you need to be more thorough. Make sure that every single part looks nice and clean, and all the font sizes are okay for all mobile devices. But for this tutorial, this is okay. I just wanted to show you how you can do this, where you can find all these options. We go back to the desktop, then everything should look the same. Okay, so this is how you can create a landing page using Astra and the Spectra page builder blocks. If you have any questions, just please leave a comment below the video. And in the next video, we are going to see how we can build a blog layout using the Astra Pro plugin. So for that tutorial, you will need the Astra Pro, because you won't be able to follow along with only the free Astra theme. So I'll see you in the next video. Have fun.